When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Mike Fiddlin, Jared Dubois over there. Just manhandling the microphone, just like nothing.
You realize no one notices but you, right? If you didn't say anything,
they hear it.
Not during this drop.
During the music? You don't think they hear it during the music?
When the right people come
You're
together.
over obsessed about sound.
Let's try it again. You guys ready? No, we're not going to do it again. That's on a loop. My apologies for looping that.
Oh, so you can make a mistake, but I can't.
You're right. You're right. Well, mine was a mistake, like an honest mistake. Yours was like, I'm going to fiddle with my mic right as we go on the air. I don't know, man. Look, what do you want me to do?
I fiddle with something else?
I work in this business.
WNBC.
Work in this business.
WNBC.
What?
This business.
Did you just disrespect my job?
No, I'm disrespecting this show. That's not like we're making big money here.
No, I mean I work in the business of making audio things. This is one part of that.
Dark, like my light's not on, but it's on. I promise.
You're looking. I don't know. Look, it'll find to me. I don't know what's on that board back there. Can anybody read what's on Jared's board back there?
Oh, a bunch of my wife's objectives for her project, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
For those who know, my wife works from home and she works right there next to me.
Oh, okay. Well, shout out to your wife who does.
She keeps using my chair during the day. Hers is broken. She keeps using mine. It's the wrong height. I have a how you adjust the right height. You like things and just the way you want things. Yeah. Actually, you sit on a stool, don't you?
I do sit on a stool.
That is so weird to me. Do you have no back support?
Yeah, I don't know. It's why. Well, everything's a little elevated here.
Oh, military raised.
I'm not. No, it's not that. I mean, it's better for your. It's better for my back. Yeah, it's better for my back. This is. I believe this is our man Vincent Toronto back again. Vincent Toronto going old school. By the way, let us know if you're here. We will shout you out. Want to say hello to everybody who's jumping on live on the best soccer show on a Wednesday evening. On tonight's program, we will talk about the U.S. men's national team culture. If you do not know, Dougie McIntyre dropped a story at Fox Sports about some background on the state of the national team. And
this is kind of like the Brian Strauss article from years ago.
It's not quite that level, right? It's not quite that level. This is just, here's some things that Greg Berhalter did. And here's some things that Mauricio Pochettino is doing and maybe doesn't like about the way things happened before and during his tenure as head coach. And we are a year into his tenure, right? It's a year of Mauricio Pochettino. So we're going to dive into some of that. I think we should also talk a little bit about whether or not we want to update our U.S. men's national team roster, especially in light of some Americans abroad activity over the last couple of days, not just on the weekend, but also in the Champions League yesterday and today. A couple of Americans making some bad mistakes. One American scoring an incredible goal in an incredible place to score a goal.
Yeah.
We had some bad to go with the good. So I think we need to take a look at that. I don't know if we're going to want to dive into MLS stories, but DC United is an absolute tire fire.
Yeah.
Looks like the Revs are looking for a new head coach. So there's some things going on out there in the soccer world, and we will try to get to as many of them as possible. If you're watching this and you're not a subscriber on the YouTube channel, can you do that? That'd be cool. That'd be great.
Why are you underselling the fact that I made a segment for today? You're not even addressing it.
That's right. You did do a blind ranking for us today, which we've been having fun with. I don't know what I have no. I'm not only is it a blind ranking, it's a blind.
I will not be replaced.
Wow, what is that about? Are you
you call me Eric and you don't do my segments? You don't use my segments.
WNBC.
I resent the fact that you're saying I call you Eric before I've actually done it tonight. Like,
when I make mistake, give it 10 minutes. Give it 10 minutes.
Just wait a little while. It'll probably happen. And then you could be like, you bastard. Man. Now, actually, not only do I have Eric, I have the other partner, Rob Kerr, on Morning Kick Around. And I just got back.
How was your trip?
Went to Albuquerque, New Mexico to do a live broadcast from Isotopes Park. Did I tell you that was the name of the stadium, Jared?
I don't think I knew that. No.
It is named for the isotopes of Simpsons fame. They created in the Simpsons. There was a fictional team where they moved. There was a team
the isotopes. I remember that now.
Yes.
The baseball
team. So they went ahead, and even though the Isotopes Park, they went ahead and leaned into the Simpsons joke. But this is where the soccer team plays as well. I learned a lot about what it takes for a second division soccer team in America to play in a minor league.
What food did you get? We talked a while back about food. Did you get any local stuff?
So here's the thing.
You ate at Wendy's, didn't you?
No. It's just you don't have a ton of time to like range away from the hotel or whatever else you got going on. We got there late on Thursday, so there was no going out. Friday was like we had to do a show in the morning, and then later in the day there was this party that they had for the new jersey, the new kit, and then a bunch of stuff. Anyway, what I'm saying is a bunch of stuff was going on and made it hard to get out. I did have a couple of New Mexico style breakfast burritos, which is something they seem to care about.
What makes them New Mexican?
I think it's the chili. Like they do, it's potatoes and egg and everything else.
It's got like some nopales or something in it, or something weird. Like I don't know.
No, it's just New Mexico is very famous for like the chili, and you can't put an S on. I was told very clearly, do not put an S on it. It's not. The plural of chili is chili. So I'm not going to make that mistake. You're asked red or green. That's what you're asked.
That's common, yeah.
So but that's not a thing we do out.
I go green. So. I go green. That's mine.
By the way, here's a shot of the set where I was there doing the show.
Looks like someone's on an acid trip.
Those are characters from Meow Wolf, the actual art experience. So it was Meow Wolf night, and the characters from Meow Wolf are there. They interrupted the broadcast at one point with their shenanigans, and that is us.
I can't imagine you like that. You like your structure.
No. I wanted this to be all chaos. Okay. I was hoping for more I wanted the background to interact with the foreground. Like I wanted it to be.
As long as they don't touch your mic, it's fine.
Yeah, they didn't grab my microphone. They didn't grab anything. Thankfully, no. It was a fun time. It was a good time. Maybe I'll tell more stories about it. If you're over on Morning Kick-Around's YouTube channel, you can get lots of stories about it over there. But that's not what we're here for. We're not here to talk about me going to Albuquerque and cheating on Jared with somebody else. We're here to talk about American soccer and the U.S. men's national team. So, Jared, as I said, we get a little bit of a peek at the culture of the national team right now with this story from Dougie McIntyre. And what are your impressions of what he discloses in there? Because there's something, again, it's a year of Pochettino, and he kind of describes how Pochettino had to undo some things or had to overcome some handicaps via the Berhalter era.
Well, I think the first thing is obviously in my mind as an old head, I go back to that Brian Strauss article, which was the Bob Bradley or Klinsman. I can't remember what that one.
That was Klinsman. A Klinsman. That was just ahead of Snowmageddon or whatever we called that game in Denver, I believe. So
at the time, do you remember what did we put it at where we felt like, not that Brian invents anything, but not all source information is always true. Some of it is also how someone interprets something.
Sure.
What we article at 80% or something like that. Now in
hindsight, I don't think it's there. I think it's I actually read this as interesting but fairly innocuous when you take it all into context. Okay,
I mean there are certain things in there did they really not call Borussia Dortmund to try to get Gio's to find out Gio's
right
to come
so gold? Let's talk about some of the things that are in here. So so Doug McIntyre paints a picture of Pochettino and how he works, right? This is a group of people that have been together as a coaching staff for a while. They're coming from outside. There's a lot of things going on. So one thing that he mentions here is that Pochettino said, I kind of need multiple years to figure this out. And he doesn't have a lot of years. At 4 years, only got 2, right?
That part did rub me the wrong way when I read it. Because at the end of the day, you took the job and you knew what was in front of you. So I kind of don't like it, kind of revisionist kind of stuff here. You knew what the challenge was. Maybe he's just stating what the challenge was. But the way I read it was a little bit of a complaint, a little bit of a bitch.
Maybe. It says, here's a quote. When we arrived, it's because something was wrong, which I think this is something he said to the media. Now, I don't think any of this is Pochettino.
That's true for every coach that ever starts a job, though.
Right. He said, we listened to a lot of people talking inside and outside of the federation that something needs to change. We need a new face, a new philosophy, and new ideas and culture. He said, you guys were talking about this before I arrived. So he mentions that guys like Christian Pulisic and Tim Weah, and I believe Tyler Adams was part of this group as well, lobbied for Greg to get a second go round. They lobbied for him to get another contract and lead them into the 2026 World Cup. They came of age. They grew up under Greg Berhalter. Here's a quote from a source, unnamed. Greg was a father figure for a lot of these guys. Right. And I think it's easy in retrospect to criticize Greg for that relationship and say that's too close. That created a conflict, really, a conflict of interest on the part of the players who are now lobbying for Greg to keep his job. Maybe not just because they think he's a good coach, but because they like the guy, right? Because it's a personal relationship. And look, we all go to bat for people we like, regardless of whether they deserve the jobs that they're up for or not. I think that's kind of just a normal thing. But in this situation, again, after the fact, we go, oh, damn, those guys shouldn't have been standing up for Greg. Because
I would have understood it more if the incident with him talking a bit out of school at that convention right after the World Cup, like I think I would have understood it more if he had kept the locker room in the locker room and he chose not to do that and he took it out into the public. And I'm kind of like, really, he didn't lose any shine for you guys when that happened? Like, what if that was you?
Well, I think that says something about their feelings about Gio and about Gio's parents and about all that whole thing. Like, don't you think those guys were probably like, what the hell is going on? Why are they, why is Claudio Reyna, why are they involved in any of this? Like,
to bring it back to Pochettino though, is when he talks about he was brought in for a cultural change. I don't disagree with him.
No,
but what I don't know is what is his cultural idea. We're a year into this right now. I don't know what Pochettino's culture is. I can't figure it out just yet, because is it accountability? I kind of see that. Okay. But he's also saying that, no, I'm just trying to see as many guys as possible and check out the pool. Like, well, what is the culture?
But I think that's more a function of what he's saying, where he's supposed to have a runway to build up. And yeah, it's not, he doesn't have as much time. And so he's trying to compress everything, but he's not giving up on the idea of checking out new players. In fact, that's in here as well. Now, we'll work our way down the story, because what happened to the Copa America happened. Obviously, Berhalter gets fired. And it mentions that there was disorder behind the scenes. Key veteran Weston McKennie arrived at the pre-Copa camp noticeably unfit, according to multiple sources.
That was Berhalter's camp, though.
Berhalter was in charge of the Copa America, right? So this is pre-Poach, but this is setting the stage, right? Weston McKennie arrives out of shape. Berhalter still started him in all 3 group games and the 2 friendlies that led into the Copa America.
This is what I was talking about earlier, like talking about Brian Strauss' piece as well. Like, this is someone's opinion that McKennie was out of shape. I don't know that it's a fact.
Well,
because if it's a fact, is he going to start all 3 games if he's truly out of shape?
Well, okay, but I think the implication, whether you want to look and try to determine whether this is a matter of perception and opinion or not, it does say noticeably. So it's not saying like, oh, maybe he was on the line and some people said, oh, he's not fit or whatever.
But let's think for a second. What if Doug McIntyre's source here is Joe Scally? Let's just say it's Joe Scally.
Okay.
Does he have more of a axe to grind under Greg Berhalter than the average player?
Yeah, maybe. I see what you're saying, but I think it's hard to imagine that Doug McIntyre.
All I'm saying is that we need to have layers to this, and not just take it as gospel just because it's in this article.
Okay, sure. You want to give some benefit of the doubt. That's okay, but it does say he arrived noticeably unfit. That's what it says. And again, I don't think Doug uses that word lightly. And it says he's played all these games to the chagrin of teammates, meaning at least he must have multiple sources that have told him that there were guys in that team who were like, what the hell? Why is Weston playing? Look at Weston. He's not in shape. Yeah. That's okay.
I guess.
And again, here we go. Implication is Berhalter wasn't tough enough on those guys, and a top journalist should have more than one source. I trust Doug McIntyre. Implicitly,
I'm sure he
trust
does.
Doug McIntyre.
So do I.
So that part we can just say.
I'm just saying a person, he's getting the statement of a player who has an opinion about something. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Right. McKennie performed poorly. Berhalter seemed to have lost control. 10 days after the Americans were eliminated, Berhalter lost his job. It says that Pochettino went out of his way not to rock the boat when he was hired. His first roster had 19 of the 26 players from Copa America. Now, obviously, he's just going on. He doesn't have a ton of time to scout new players or think about. He's just like, what do I got? Okay, let's bring it back.
Paste.
It mentions that Pulisic begged out of that friendly in Guadalajara.
That was interesting. We thought at the time that Pochettino just wanted to get an initial greeting, get a quick game.
We blamed Poch. We blamed
Pochettino because he did it with multiple players. He sent multiple players back before that Mexico game,
including Weston.
Mm-hmm. So now it's interesting to know behind the scenes that was more of at least on Pulisic's part. I think that's the only person he names directly that said to go back to their team.
Yeah, it says that Pulisic asked to return, and Pochettino obliged, and then covered for Pulisic in the media, right? He said, we were a little worried
As a
about
coach
Pulisic.
should.
Now, again, this is a matter of maybe perception, although, again, if the sourcing is firm, I don't think Pochettino spoke to Dougie Mack for the story. So it's not like Pochettino saying, I was upset at Christian for going back to Milan before that friendly. I would like to have
he gets it. I think he gets it. But here's the thing. If that's how it is, what was that? That was probably, September or something like that. I can't remember what that was. Then you've got the following summer, and Pulisic wants to not show up for certain games again. So it gives a little more context for why maybe how Mauricio Pochettino is justified in some of his feelings on these players, because if that's the case, and now you have multiple times where he's saying, I'm not injured, but I just need time off, and you're trying to get things together, I can understand why Pochettino's kind of gets turned the wrong way on it.
You know, what's interesting about this story is that I think it reads as very complimentary to Pochettino. Okay.
Agreed.
Now, that, and again, I'm trying not to be too cynical. And again, I trust Dougie Mack. I think this stuff generally happened, but as you said, it's a matter of perception. Which side are you standing on as you look at this? Which angle are you looking at? This also kind of feels like a story that is timed, and it helps that they beat Japan, right? But it's timed to kind of build this back up as Pochettino's the guy. Trust Pochettino, right? Some of the stuff you wanted to ding him for was actually not what you thought it was. That was mirages, and he was doing what a coach does, which is protect his players or defend his players, even if he was upset with them, because it says here that after they lost to Panama and Canada in the Nations League, while he struck a conciliatory tone in the post-game press conference, even apologizing for the loss to Canada, Pochettino was privately what one source described as furious with his team.
Yeah, and I don't know that Doug McIntyre is trying to create a narrative here. I think his job is to get the truest information out there. And in this case, with the Pulisic thing with before the Mexico game, the narrative was that, hey, Pochettino sent these guys home, and now he has more information. Now, whether that makes Pochettino look good or bad, I don't think it matters to him as the journalist. Well, this is information we didn't have before, and it's important that it gets out there.
When I say that it makes Pochettino look good, what I mean is for everybody who says that this team is soft, or they aren't being challenged, or the veteran sort of the established group, the McKennies, the Pulisics, the Adams, have had a free pass and haven't been asked to really, prove themselves, that under Berhalter in particular, they thought their spot was assured and they played like it, that this is a coach who's challenging them. That's what this story makes it sound like Pochettino's a guy who's saying, no, you don't have like with the Adams thing. It mentions that Tyler Adams, he's like, you're not my captain yet. You haven't proved to me you're my captain. And right now, the captain is Tim Ream when Tim Ream is on the field. Now, I think a lot of us just went like, oh, that's experience. But if you take the armband off of somebody, that's a thing. Because Tim Ream was in those teams too when Tyler Adams was the captain. He was there.
He didn't take the armband from him. He never gave it to him in the first place. Berhalter did. So I think
that's fair.
I think Berhalter did Tyler Adams and other players a disservice because he didn't have one true captain. He shared it across 3 or 4 guys in another effort to placate his highest level players.
Didn't we have a committee at one point?
Yes, there's a leadership committee.
Oof.
So I will say this in terms of, I was talking before about what's Pochettino's culture. I definitely see a cultural change in this regard, in that you're not hearing Pochettino talk about a leadership committee. No, I've got a captain. No. This is him. It's one guy. The other guy hasn't earned it yet. Like, that's calling a guy out and holding him accountable.
Well, I also think
a sea change there.
This is a personality thing between Berhalter and Pochettino, but I also think it's a very big culture thing from where they come from too, right? I think and look, it's not that there haven't been, sort of disciplinary figures in the U.S. men's national team before. I don't think Bruce was running around being friendly with all the guys he was coaching.
But he's known as a player's coach.
But he is known as a player's coach, right? And he's like, go out there and play. He doesn't overcomplicate everything. Meanwhile, Pochettino, not in terms of tactics necessarily, but Pochettino's a guy who has very rigid ideas of what the gap between coach and player is. Right. Yeah. And so we have this from the offside flag in the chat. A head coach shouldn't have any relationship with the players beyond what is absolutely necessary. Assistant coaches should manage relationships with the players. And if you think about Argentine football culture in particular, I remember reading the stories about Atlanta and their locker room and how after Tata Martino left and they were replacing Martino. I can't remember who came right in. Was it Frank DeBoer?
It was Frank DeBoer, yeah.
Frank DeBoer. Something happened.
It wasn't Heinze, right? It wasn't Heinze?
No, it wasn't Heinze, because Heinze is Argentine. But it had something to do with suddenly the wall between the coaches and the players that had existed because Tato operated that way no longer existed. And then South American players in particular were like, what the hell is going on? Like, this is not how we do it, right? We do it. Our space is our space. And we're free. So in other words, if you want to bitch about the coach lets you bitch about him because he doesn't go into your space. Yeah. Right? The player space is the player space. And if you want to bitch and complain and moan and get it all out, then that's okay. He's still going to pick who he wants to pick. He doesn't give a shit what your attitude is about his decisions as long as you're showing up.
You can't walk in his office and talk to him, but he's not going to go into your area. And
exactly. There's a barrier between these two things, and I think that's interesting. It talks about the summer, right? The Gold Cup and all of that. McKennie and Weah not available because Juve was in the Club World Cup. Gio Reyna's team in the Club World Cup. But some speculated he could be released from international duty with his days coming to an end at Dortmund, right? It took a while for that to happen, but we thought that was going to happen. U.S. Soccer, this is a parenthetical from Mr. Doug McIntyre. U.S. Soccer never even asked Dortmund to release Gio, sources said. What does that imply to you?
Why would they? Like, the kid's not playing.
Yeah.
The kid's not playing. Like, what other player did he call up that is not getting any minutes of their club team?
I can't think of one. I can't think of one.
I can't think of one. Even if everyone assumes the call up is about talent. It's not always about talent.
No, for Poch, it's definitely not. For Poch, it's not about like who's the most accomplished on the playing at the highest level. He clearly doesn't care about that because he's talking up the idea.
He'd rather take an MLS player that he saw in person and watched and has an idea of who they are. Gio's giving him nothing to evaluate. Now, this was in the summer. Obviously, already transferred. Getting his first minutes of Borussia Mönchengladbach, not looking bad, looking good compared to what's around him. But last summer, there's no sample size.
Mm-hmm. No, it's fair. It's fair. I don't think that it just is kind of stark. It like stands out. Like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. But also, damn, that's where he was at. Like, damn, they didn't even check to see if he could come in so Poch could get a look at him. It's like, oh no, he's not even a factor right now. Now, this goes on to talk about Poch saying you shouldn't be coming in here to have golf and dinner with your buddies, to play golf and have dinner with your buddies. Then it talks about the Pulisic situation, right? Pulisic saying he didn't want to play in the Gold Cup. And it says it probably didn't help in terms of the way this went down. Pochettino wanted Adams, Richards, and especially Pulisic for the Gold Cup. That's what it says. So he was blindsided when a U.S. soccer official informed him that Pulisic wanted to skip the U.S. men's national team's last competitive tournament before the all-important main event in 2026. It probably didn't help that the call came from Pulisic's agent and was delivered through an intermediary. Pulisic eventually explained his position on a CBS podcast, an attempt at damage control that backfired when he said he, quote-unquote, didn't understand why Pochettino wanted him for the whole summer and not just for those two pre-Gold Cup tune-ups against Turkey and Switzerland. I said it at the time. Pulisic really, really botched that whole situation. Handled extremely poorly, and now we have an extra detail that he didn't.
And it's not like the public can't understand him wanting some kind of break, through the summer. I understand that, but hearing that how it came down, if it really did come from an agent through an intermediary, and you don't have the respect to call your coach and tell him like, hey,
again, you have to read the room. And this is what I also think that this is part of Pulisic's personality, which is a turnoff for a lot of people, that he doesn't seem to be willing to sort of, I don't know, step up to the plate sometimes in these situations. I'm not saying on the field. On the field, I think he gives whatever he's got. But in these situations, it does feel like he's sort of like, no, I'll just go over here and somebody else will take care of it. And in this moment, you're dealing with, again, an Argentine coach. You're dealing with somebody who clearly sees the world in a specific way, and his culture is specific. So why wouldn't you go, let me call this guy so I don't risk getting on his bad side? Because even in our culture, that's what you should do, man to man.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to your best friend's wedding because something came up. You don't go, hey, call his sister. Hey, can you tell him I'm not going to be there? You got to call him yourself.
Yeah, I think that's immaturity on Pulisic's part. And I'm not sure who's advising him on that, but I want to ask around, because whether it's your style or not, it doesn't matter. You've got to match the coaches. That's the boss. You got to match his style, meet him where he's at. and I think it's a bad look for him, and also there's a reason why when we were talking about the captain's armband a little bit ago, Pulisic's name didn't come up. We were talking about Tyler Adams, right? Adams and Ream. That's who we're talking about, because your eyes tell you that Pulisic is not the style of captain that's right for this team. He doesn't seem to, you don't see him holding people accountable on the field. What he does in the locker room, we'll never know. His relationship with their players, we'll never know. But to the average fan, you look at Tyler Adams and you see, oh, he's holding that guy accountable right now. He's telling him what he wants. He's passionate about it. Tim Ream, you totally understand as well. He is a veteran who's had a ton of experience. He's a rock at the back. He does a lot of things really, really well, that he doesn't make big mistakes or anything like that. Pulisic's in a position where he's going to make mistakes, and that's okay. It's part of his job. But it's just it's different, because when he makes a mistake and he's holding someone else accountable, well, you just lost the ball. Like, how come I can't lose the ball? I don't know, but I just don't see Pulisic having that fire in him of leadership that is outward and easy for a fan base to see. It doesn't mean he doesn't have it. Yeah. I just don't get to see it in a way that's obvious to me.
Yeah, so the rest of the article just kind of goes more into this idea that Pochettino's trying to create that culture of accountability, and I have no problem with that, right? I have no problem with that. I don't think, again, you're saying, like, where does this fit on the level of 0 to Brian Strauss during the Klinsmann era? I don't even know if I rated that way.
That one landed a lot more negative on Klinsmann.
Yes, that one absolutely did. And again, I think the read on this is that Pochettino is trying to hold these guys accountable, that he's not putting up with any bullshit. He's not going to let them slide. And look, this team is not better if Pulisic's not in it. There's zero way you're going to argue me into believing that Christian Pulisic not being in this team would make it better. But I definitely think that it's okay to say, hey, show up, and do it, and do the work, and be here when we ask you to be here, or you're not part of this.
And even like when going to the Gold Cup and Turkey and Switzerland, stuff like that, maybe trust that your coach knows that you've had a lot. He's not the first. You're not the first European player that he's had to deal with. He knows what your body's been asked to do. Yeah. He knows what's going on out there. But trust him maybe to manage that over the course of 6-7 weeks with the national team. I don't know. It's a tough thing. I'm not saying Pulisic's necessarily wrong. I think how he went about it is probably wrong. But I also think that maybe I really feel like he's not meeting Pochettino halfway.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot in terms of the cultural fit here, right? And I think, again, we kind of have a little bit more hope now because of the performance against Japan, but I don't know that I'm sold that Pochettino really knows what he's doing yet. Just because
listen, I'm happy to kick the can to October, just like Pochettino has kind of told us to, and I'll evaluate you based on your best 23 that you're going to bring in October and see what results you get. Cool. I will cast a shadow on the past, and I will evaluate you then. What did you do with this team?
So before we talk about rosters, because we did our very, very, very entirely too early 23-man rosters for the World Cup last week, and actually mine came up on an appearance I did on Scuffed. If anybody listens to Scuffed, and I'm sure lots of people do.
They pulled the graphic on you?
They didn't pull the graphic. No, I was, they don't share their video. Bells and Vince don't share their video, but we were on StreamYard and doing the recording, and Bells was like, yeah, I got your 23-man roster. And I was like, how am I going to feel about this? Am I going to be able to back it up, or I'm going to feel weird about it?
I think yours was a little bit more easy to defend than mine was.
Well, but
now I'm seeing one name, Ajamang. I still think that's a weird call. But I only had 3 center backs on mine, which is rough.
Yeah. You had 3 center backs. I started to jam Austin Trusty in there for reasons that just because of center back reasons. Now, while talking to the guys, talking to Bells and Vince, we kind of got to a place of there are a couple of guys who can step in at center back if they absolutely have to, that play in other positions. So then you get into, can Jedi Robinson play center back? Can Joe Scally play center back? Yeah, of course they can. Tyler Adams in a back 3, if you really, 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 really want him to, there are ways to do that. So, I mean, even a guy like Weston McKennie, I don't think would be a disaster.
We've already said, but Weston McKennie can pretty much play any position if he really wants to.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Juve's already proven that.
Now I'm looking at this though after the weekend, right? So we got back into international or into club football, and we've had some Champions League where some of these guys have played, and I'm wondering if you or me, either one of us, want to make any changes based on that, because this can be a sliding thing. Like, you don't have to be convinced, especially, obviously injury is a part of this, But and Johnny Cardoso, by the way, did pick up an injury and did not play for Atleti today in their game against Liverpool. But you look at this list and you think, okay, what did they do recently? How do they look? How do I feel about
Ricardo Pepi had a rough weekend.
He did.
I mean, a rough week, Suey. Yesterday? Yeah. 2 goals that he contributed negatively on for PSV. I don't think it's enough to drop him out of either of our teams, but they're starting to get more competition at that position. Balogun's starting to hit a stride. Josh Sargent is in a stride at his club team, at least. Ricardo Pepi, I think we all feel, has a good chance of maybe being a starter for this team, but you're finally, the coach is starting to give you those starting minutes at PSV, enough that you got a Champions League game and you kind of crap the bed.
Tell me why he's defending in his own box. Why he's there? In that
especially
spot.
in Netherlands. I thought no one played defense there.
I mean, but obviously the Champions League is a little bit of a different kettle of fish for them. I just that was an odd one for me. And then the giveaway again. I don't know that's where you want your forward trying to maintain possession. I don't know if they were talking about a breakdown, if this is something that, generally speaking, they want him to do, and it just didn't work in those moments. But I feel bad for Ricardo Pepi because that's not really what we're judging him on generally. We're judging him on what he contributes to the attack. That didn't go well either. But, man, are you looking at him going, oh, he had a penalty and a giveaway that directly led to goals, toss him out of the national team?
No, it's a bad game. It's just a bad game. We'll see. I don't think, honestly, I'm not going to replace anyone based off if it's only been a week since I made this. Now, are there players whose stock are going up and down? Sure. Is Gio Reyna's stock going up because he's seeing minutes starting and highest rated player on his team on the weekend? Sure. His stock goes up. Not enough to displace anyone just yet. But the interesting thing is with my roster is I have Diego Luna and I have Malik Tillman in mine and Malik Tillman. And those are both pretty much the same position as Gio Reyna. So am I really going to drop a Berhalter or a De La Torre to make room for Gio? Or do I have to drop one of those two because they're similar players?
And I think if you're talking about who really is most likely to drop, and this is your team, it's Luna who's most likely to get dropped, not
unfortunately
Tillman.
Based on his club form. Yeah.
So again, no Johnny, and then obviously we had Ricardo Pepi with the bad moment, and then Yunus Musa also gave away a penalty today. Now, I feel bad for that one too because Atalanta was going up against the defending European champions, an absolute murderer's row in terms of PSG, and it sure did look that way. 4-0 final
he gave
score.
Up at least one, maybe I bet 2 suspect penalties at AC Milan last season too when they were doing that right back experiment with him. I just feel like maybe sometimes my man is a little bit too impulsive,
Yeah. He also, man, watching him play, he rides the edge of absolute disaster sometimes. So I'm trying to bring the ball out of the back.
It looks out of control.
Yeah, and I hope he builds his confidence. And obviously being in a team at Atalanta that will play him or looks like they will play him should build his confidence. And I hope Ivan Juric doesn't just quit on the kid. And they, it's not that they didn't do anything to get him in. They obviously went out and got him from AC Milan. So I'm at least hopeful in that regard that there's something coming, that this will continue to grow for Yunus. I mean, the funny thing is MMA was the way of things, and we really liked that midfield, and it worked for us, and it held down England and all these things. And now here we are 4 years later, or 3.5 years later, and we're like,
you and I both don't have him on it.
A starter?
You don't have him on yours, right?
Is he on the team? Yeah, where
is he on yours either, right?
Which is harsh on a guy that I don't think has gotten necessarily markedly worse. He just hasn't played enough for us to be like, yep, that's our guy, or he needs to be in this team somehow.
And I think 3 years on, you want to see the things that were his weaknesses in the past, giveaways, mental errors, those are the things you want to see growth on over 3 years. And I don't feel that he's much of a different player than he was 3 years ago. And that's unfortunate because other guys around him are getting better.
Should also mention that Juve and Dortmund played an absolute insane game that ended up 4-4.
Juve's last 2 games, if you haven't watched the highlights of the last 2 Juve games, 2 of the Inter game may be the best game I've seen.
Yeah.
I can't remember. The bangers to minute ratio in that Inter game.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Now, I said this somewhere else. I think at some point I'd like to have a Kenan Yildiz on my team. Can I have a Kenan Yildiz on my team, please? Man. Yeah, he's incredible. And actually, I was thinking about this too. Dual national who chose the nation of his parents over the nation he was born in. I think that's just an interesting thing when we talk about dual nationals and U.S.
But
men's
man,
national team
that
players.
guy's ability to cut in on his right foot and curl to that back post. I don't know how many times I've seen it already, but lethal.
Yeah, incredible. So 4-4. Now a lot of the goal scoring, in fact, two Juve goals, and I believe, let me see when he came off. McKennie came off at 59 minutes. So all of the Juventus goals came after Weston McKennie came off the field.
And 3 of the 4 Dortmund ones did.
3 of the 4 Dortmund.
7 of the 8 goals happened after Weston McKennie came off the field.
And I don't think he was by any stretch bad on the day. In fact, I thought he might have had a couple of opportunities.
I think a fortunate position for him too, that right wing back position. Timothy Weah has been playing that the last year and a half.
All right, everybody's taking issue with my Patrick Agyemang pick, which you've already pointed out. Again, I just think that like big body chaos agent is nice to have at the end of the game. Again, I'm not expecting him to start. Who is over Patrick Agyemang? Who's over him?
I put Josh Sargent in mine.
You pick Josh Sargent. Josh Sargent does nothing for the national team. He doesn't
That's
score goals.
Cool. He's also one of the best scorers in the division he's playing in. So
Haji.
I mean,
Spencer says Haji is better.
I get it. Haji, I think, could go out to the wing better. I mean, Haji's playing well as ready. I think Sargent has more goals than Haji right now. I know Haji got 2 goals to start and 1 on the weekend, but even the one on the weekend, I mean, he kind of like just luckily got a toe on something, but it's his. I think Josh Sargent is a smart player. I'm not saying he's a starter. He's probably my 3rd highest striker of what I have out there, but I, for some reason, just feel like he's a player that other players want to play with. And I just think there's some value in that. And also, he has to at least have some confidence, more than Pepe or Balogun based off his club.
Are we really gonna like say this with a straight face? That Haji scored in the World Cup? Are we really going to say that with a straight face?
It was off his back? What was it?
I don't even remember. He didn't do anything really to make it happen.
Listen, I'm a Haji Wright fan. He's a Galaxy product.
I know. You are.
No one even remembers that. No one remembers.
And yes, I realize it was a joke, SEO Spider. I'm just messing with you. All right. So yeah, I wanted to also mention here before we move on and maybe do a blind ranking and some other stuff we want to get to. Christian was on the bench to start the match for AC Milan this weekend. Do you have any concern about that?
I didn't make that much of it because he had just played 2 games for the national team, so I didn't take much issue with it because I could justify why he was there. But there is a lot of talk about the fact that Allegri just does not want to play with the style of formation that would be necessary to have Christian Pulisic on the field. Yeah. But you can't deny the fact that in the 25 minutes he was on the field, he was the best player for AC Milan, as he has been for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
He should have 2 assists. I mean, Jimenez and someone else just botched 2 gimmies.
I think, when I was on Scuffed, Vince pointed out very early in the show that, while maybe there's some things about our national team we don't like right now, at least we have Santi Jimenez crashing and burning at AC Milan to be thrilled about, which I was like, wow.
That's the Ricardo Pepi worry, right? Santi Jimenez is in the Netherlands balling out of control, a la Josie Altidore, in the past. The Netherlands creates the best and also most overhyped forwards in the world. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, one of the best ever come out of there. You have Luis Suarez. They are amazing, but they also have guys whose stats are just padded. And I'm not going to write off Santi Jimenez at this point, but early returns are that, wow, he can't make the level jump.
Yeah. All right. I don't know. Again, I don't think either of us are jumping to a conclusion to change anything dramatic here. I mean, if you want to argue Sargent over Agyemang or Haji Wright over Agyemang, fine. Again, we're talking about the 3rd striker on this team that I've got right here. So I'm not going to get too in the weeds. Spencer saying that Sands, Tessman, and Morris are higher levels than Seb Berhalter. I do not have Berhalter. You do. Sands is doing well at St. Pauli. Tessman doing well in France.
He's had 0 call-ups under Pochettino. At this point, you should consider that ship sailed.
I think that's true. I think if you're going to read anything, and like if you are going to look at that, Tessman's had a look and hasn't been called back. Sands hasn't gotten caught at all, as far as I'm aware, and Aiden Morris doesn't seem to be in the plans either. But things can change.
At least Tessman and Morris have been called in. I will say that one argument I would have for Sands over someone else is that he is in a pinch center back as well.
Yeah, that's true. He can play multiple positions, and versatility at a World Cup. It's kind of a thing. Like, that's kind of an important thing that's part of this.
Is Zach Steffen completely out of the picture? For me, he is.
Some people have him in the picture. I still think that I would rather take Schulte than Steffen. But again, this is all, and I go back to 2022, and I know Zach Steffen has kind of been moved down the pecking order because he didn't go to that World Cup, and you don't have that issue of like, oh, who's the number one, which apparently is what Greg Berhalter wanted to avoid. I don't see it, man.
I do want to address this comment in the chat where Spencer is saying, I do realize Poach doesn't do his homework. He still doesn't know our pool. I think we do this a lot as a fan base because his evaluations do not match ours. Therefore, he is not doing his homework or he doesn't know the pool. Maybe he just came to a different conclusion based off the same data.
Right. That is right. Again, it's and trying to reconcile his opinion with ours when ours is based on, I don't even know. I mean, again, do we have more information than he does? That depends on what
we watched it live. We lived it. We lived the culture of it after the fact in forums and social media and everything like that. We lived it differently. But I also am kind of happy he's free of those chains. Like, he can just make an honest opinion and evaluation on a player, and where it lands, it lands.
Okay, so there's our teams at the moment. No big changes there. Oh, we should also just mention, I think I teased it, Tim Weah scores that goal at the Bernabeu. Now, obviously, Real Madrid comes back and ends up winning the game on what I think was an absolute bullshit penalty. I think that's a bullshit penalty. But it's a great moment for an American player. And I think I looked this up and I couldn't, it's tough, pre-internet days and verifying things, but I'm pretty sure Tim Weah has the same number of goals at the Bernabeu as his dad with that goal that he scored in the Champions League.
Both for Marseille as well?
I believe I looked it up.
I don't know if Weah's was of AC Milan or if it was with Marseille though.
I don't think it was with Milan. I remember I looked this up yesterday, so my apologies.
Well, the crazy thing is we now live in a world where the U.S. could potentially field two. I feel the lineup that has a guy that scored in the Bernabeu, a guy that scored in the Nou Camp, and a guy with the Champions League trophy. Not bad. I mean, results aside, kind of cool to be able to say that.
Yeah, I'm looking it up here. Weah followed in his footsteps. Let's see, where is it? Okay, let's see. Doesn't say exactly where George. Okay, for PSG. He was playing for PSG at the time, George Weah. So there you go. All right, about 20 minutes left in the show. Why don't we do whatever blind ranking you have prepared for me, knowing that I have no idea what's coming.
It's niche. Something. It's niche. So for you and I, this is going to be awesome, and for a select amount of people that have been with us on our long ride, for a certain demographic, it may be like, huh? But I'm going to enjoy it. I hope you'll enjoy it. Your blind ranking today, sir, is blind rank these old school American soccer websites.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
So these are the places that we used to go before we had the big, the Fox and the ESPNs and all these CBS covering the sport. These are the places we used to go. And I wanted to know from you, Jason Davis, how you rank them just in terms of personal preference. This is not like who had the best, because these are going to be far ranging, in terms of the type of content that they put out there.
Okay.
But
okay.
What are the places that you would have wanted to frequent the most? Okay.
Wow.
So turn off the chat.
Okay, here we go. Narrow casting to the old heads, but it's fine. We know who
that's fine. You know what? Everyone else can go do research after this. Okay. Research some stuff.
No comments. No comments. Okay. Although, look, I'm not going to need the comments in this one. This is going to be all me because, okay, got it.
Okay, so number one, I'm going to give you, well, maybe not number one, but the first
one I'm going
to give you.
How many?
Oh, there are 9, I believe. Let me see here. 9.
9 American soccer websites.
Old school American soccer websites. Okay.
I'm wondering how much personal relationships are going to come into play for me on this one.
I don't know. We'll have to see. Man, you're going to burn some bridges today.
What'd you say? What was
You're
that?
going to burn some bridges tonight.
Hoping not. No, you think those guys listen to this show? Are you kidding me? They got better things to do. They got kids or whatever.
Number 1. First one up for you. Du Nord.
Wow. Okay. I was just thinking about Bruce.
Hit you in the heartstrings from the beginning.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly why he came up, but I think I mentioned him on Blue Sky or something. It came up. See, Du Nord, Bruce was the gateway drug because he linked to everything.
I also feel he was like the heartbeat of a community, you know?
Yeah, everybody loved Bruce. He had the music chops.
I don't know what we're talking about in past tense. He's alive.
Yeah. Man, I got 9.
Yeah,
I got to leave some space, but this is a really tough first one. You give me like a really hard one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 4 for Bruce.
Okay, Du Nord, number 4. Let me make
Bruce McGuire, Du Nord. Wow.
Next one up for you. Stephen Goff's page back in the day, his Goff's blog on the Washington Post. Probably the big journalist at the time covering. Yeah. I think eventually Grant Wall surpassed, but for a long time, he was our legit journalist beacon that was covering the sport back in the day.
Just retired from the Post, took a buyout, no longer on the beat for the Washington Post, which is really hard. Although he reported today on DC United News on social media.
Me at all.
Yeah, he's the one that was breaking news about who they're going to hire as their general manager. That is a freaking story, by the way. We got to talk about that. Maybe we got to talk about it at some point. Goff, man, I love Goff. He's journalistic, like that journalistic element, which was very important to me. As much as I loved Bruce, I'll put Goff at 3 to leave some room and still have a heavy hitter at the top. Because he's, now, again, this is not disrespect to Bruce. Bruce, as you said, built a community, was a community.
Yeah.
But Goff was like hard-hitting information at a time we didn't have people doing that.
I totally understand. Next one for you. Soccer by Ives.
So SBI, Soccer by Ives. You know, I remember jumping in the early days and reading everything I get my eyes on. And I remember
Ives was polarizing.
Well, yeah, sure, on some level. He also, I was around when he went from like the North Jersey or the Bergen Record or wherever he was and started his own thing. And that was like baller as hell at the time. Like, damn, you can go and start your own soccer blog and that's like a thing you can do.
And then had a fleet of writers as well.
Well, eventually, yeah, he recruited a bunch of writers. I had a tough relationship with Ives in the beginning. And we've talked about this. Like, he told me, like, I didn't know who you were. You showed up. I was a little bit like, who the hell is this guy? I didn't really know you.
Well, back in the day when we would go to MLS Cup, I think you don't think you went with me with this one, but I remember him showing up with like his fleet of writers and like holding court in the corner of the room.
Oh, yeah.
That was the corner of the room you wanted to be a part of. Like, he came in baller. I'm not gonna lie. He came in like a baller.
No, I was a bunch of those. I don't know if I went with you, but I was at a bunch of those. Franco Panizo was a guy who was always with Ives back then. Shout out to Franco, who's in Miami doing his thing. Ives, man, that's tough. God, you're making me put him 2. You're gonna make me put Ives. No, I'll put Ives 5. I love Ives. Okay. It's not disrespect. He actually had a ton of stuff we know you couldn't get it anywhere else.
I think he was the first I actually I don't want to say it this the wrong way. He was the first blogger to have legit clout, I feel.
He had some of, he had
make that jump to like respected journalist from blogger.
Yeah, for sure. But he had journalistic chops from his previous career.
For sure.
And then he turned that into a blogging thing in his own website, which then again, gave him a status for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I respect the hell out of Ives, who's, nowadays much more behind the scenes. His site is still up. Other people are writing on it, but he's doing other stuff for CBS and all that.
All right, next one for you. Nutmeg Radio. Maridi Marungi.
Oh, Maridi. What happened? I got to find out where
I don't know what's up with Maridi, man. I mean, he had a law degree. I'm sure he's doing fine, right? Didn't he have a law degree?
Yeah, he was a lawyer. Yeah, he was out of Baltimore, I think. I loved Maridi.
There were a lot of lawyers who were doing blogging back in the day.
Yeah, well, that's all. I think that's the thing in every sport. They have like a sense of it. Like if you think about pro football talk, Mike Florio, he's also a lawyer, so there's something to that. Maridi was great though.
Just a different vibe, man.
Yeah, it's a totally different vibe. I'll put Meridian. Put Meridian at 7, I guess.
7.
Okay. Meridian at 7 with Nutmeg Radio. Yeah.
Okay. Next one. The original Winger.
See, again, you're pulling on my heartstrings with that. That's more emotional.
Very, very different. I said this is a big gambit. You have journalism. You have the original Winger, which was culture.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I appreciated culture blogs. I did. I know you're going to throw at least 1 or 2 more culture blogs at me. Like I have in my head now. There's got to, okay, one of them has to be on your list. The other one might not make it, but I think both of them are going to be interesting. I'm going to put the original Ringer.
You want to go back and let you know what numbers you've used?
I think 8's still open, right?
8's open.
I'm going to put them at 8.
Okay.
It's not that I didn't like it. Just gotta be judicious.
Well, listen,
here.
If we're honest about the two of us, you're much more on the journalistic news side of things. I would probably be a little bit more on the culture side.
That's true. That's true, I guess. But also, like, I respected the guys who were just talking shit. Like on some level, I did like that. I thought I still think American soccer needs more of that. Remember,
there's tastemakers.
Yeah, exactly. Remember that at one point, one of my gigs, I was still working my full-time 9-to-5 job, but one of my gigs was running a culture site. I ran Kickers for a while with Keith Hickey, and we had a couple other people writing for us there. I think Kim McCauley maybe came through at one point.
She was everywhere.
I mean, Kim wrote for me at my old site, but
Farley was everywhere. It's good to remember.
I don't know if Farley was on that one, but yeah. But Kickers was all about culture. Had no hard soccer in it. It was just about the culture, and I love that stuff.
All right, so basically, you've got the edges kind of still available. You've got 1, 2, 6,
and 9.
9.
Yeah,
1, 2, 6, and 9.
I'm gonna get stuck here with something. I know what happened.
All right, next one. Shin Guardian. Mike Tomaszewicz.
Okay, so I
was one of my personal favorites. I know. I went niche with this one. There's a bunch of people that never even heard of this probably, but Mike didn't work back in the day.
The Shin Guardian.
Matt. Jesus, I just said Mike. Why did I say Mike? Matt. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, Matt Tomaszewicz, not Mike.
I don't know why I said that. I literally follow him on Instagram still. His daughter's
I don't know why, and maybe there was I'll admit, I'll hold up my hand. I'm a mature individual. Maybe there's some jealousy involved in my feelings.
You guys were competing for a similar audience at a similar time.
Yeah, I think that's.
I did not put Match Day USA on here. I'll let you know that right now. I feel there's a conflict of interest.
No, you shouldn't put and I wouldn't even put. I would put myself at 9. What are you talking about? I go straight to 9 with that one. Like I think we wrote some decent stuff, but I wasn't. I only did that. I only did it for it was only 2.5 years or something.
Matt did really, for people that don't know, Matt did really in-depth formation analysis. A lot of
it was very nerdy. It was a very very nerdy approach, and not that there's anything wrong with that. It just wasn't my approach. And again, there may have been some competitive stuff there, so I got to put the Shin Guardian at 8. Then I got to.
8. Oh, you have 8 already as Winger,
huh? Oh, sorry. Whatever. What? Oh,
9?
6.
Oh, 6.
Okay, wait. Hold on. Okay. I'm
going to end up in a Tyler Adams situation. We're going to put it.
I'm talking about jealousy, and I'm about to put him at 9. That seems really shitty on my part.
But you also said you would put yourself there too, though.
Yeah, I'll put him at 9.
Love you, Matt. All right, next one. The Offside Rules.
Okay, see, I knew this was going to get in there, and
I'm going to pick it.
Sean is my boy. Now, Sean will even tell you that some of the stuff he did on the Offside Rules was not always cool. Like in retrospect, maybe there were some things that didn't need to go up there.
Like when you posted my stuff?
Like what?
Like when you would post my stuff? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. Okay. I'm talking about the kind of stuff that Perez Hilton was doing where you're making fun of people's physical appearance and stuff.
It was a different time.
It was a different time. Sure. I'm going to put my boy Sean Francis.
You have 1, 2, and 6 left.
And the Offside Rules at 2. I don't know what's coming, but I'm gonna put him at 2.
I think
I could do 1, but I feel like
I'm work out pretty well. I think you're gonna work out pretty well because you can justify the things that are remaining.
Okay.
Next, so you have 1 and 8. Sorry, 1 and 6 available.
1 and 6.
U.S. Soccer Players Association. You want to tell people what that was?
I wrote
excuse me.
For 10 years.
Jason wrote that.
Didn't always have fun writing for that
You,
one.
Chucky Bohm. Who else was there? It's where a lot of people cut their teeth.
Clemente Lisi was also there. There are a couple other people there.
Vertelny's right there.
Who?
Vertelny?
No, Vertelny never wrote there. No, it was Chucky Boom, Clemente, me, and I think
that
one
site's
other.
Still up. You can still go there today. You know, it's still around.
Yeah, but they don't post any of the stuff we wrote. I mean, they don't post this kind of stuff we were writing. They moved on.
It was odd to have a Players Association page have content.
Yeah. I had a love-hate relationship with that job. But I had it for I can't believe I did it for more than a decade, I think. Before they it's not even like I quit, because I told my wife, I want to quit. And then I didn't. I'm gonna have to put that at 6, because I'm not putting it higher than that. I'm not putting it at 1.
You only have 6 or 1.
Yeah.
All right, number 1 for you. Jason's number 1 old school American soccer website is Big Soccer.
Yeah, I mean, for breadth of converse, I mean, that's not the same kind of thing. But yeah, I figure Big Soccer was
number 1. It's number 1. I'm sorry. It is. For as vile as it could be, and as frustrating as it could be, as immature as it could be, in a time before blogs, it was everything. Everything.
Yeah.
It's where I got found. Like, I was writing, I literally responded to a ad that Trevor put out there looking for a Galaxy blogger. I'm like, I could do that. And I just hit him up, sent him a sample, and that's how I got my start, you know?
Yeah.
I almost put Dan Loney as his own thing, but then I put Big Soccer, because you could put Dan Loney as his own blog and it could be on here, but it was on Big Soccer.
Yeah.
So
do you remember? So one I thought you might fit in there. Do you remember This Is American Soccer? Do you remember that one?
Yes. Why do I know that? Who did that one?
No, I'm trying to remember the guy. So people have moved on.
Oh, yes. He gifted
Adam
me
Spangler.
one of my best. He gifted me one of my best bottles of wine I've ever had.
Oh, really?
So,
Adam Spangler did.
He was coming out for, it was MLS Cup or some big game, or it was MLS Cup of the Galaxy, or it was a high profile friendly. I can't remember which. I had season tickets at the time, but I remember I had press box as well. So I was going to use my press box for the event, and I had 2 tickets. And he had hit me up. He's like, "Hey, I'm trying to look for tickets, for I can't remember if it's for him or his family or something like that." And I just gave him my 2 tickets. And a couple weeks later, the guy hits me. I was like, "Hey, what's your address?" And I guess his dad is a big wine collector, and he sent me 2 very nice bottles of wine as a thank you. Unfortunately, one was corked. There's no way he could have known that. It happens with old wine. It was like a 96 Phelps and a 99 Cornerstone. And the Cornerstone that I drank, the Phelps, unfortunately, was the one that was corked. The Cornerstone was fantastic. So yeah, shout out to him. He also was working for Nike. His blog was on Nike's site.
Yes. Yeah. Well, he had a part. Somehow he got Nike involved in his site. Yeah.
And he still writes for like more nature, outdoor hiking kind of stuff.
I think he moved on to like Runner's World and stuff like that at one point. Yeah. Shout out to Adam Spangler. It was not common to me. I remember he did a podcast. So our man Vince in Toronto is mentioning a bunch of old school podcasts. Corner of the Galaxy still going. Corner of the Galaxy still live. Open Wide for Some Soccer, which was Pablo Maurer, Seth Bertelny, and Thomas Floyd. You had Seeing Red still going. What'd you say?
And Long Tan. Felt like a member.
Yeah. Two Solitudes, which is a Canadian soccer podcast.
Never heard of it.
Vince, you're gonna have to remind me. Was Dwayne involved in that one, or am I remembering wrong? Anyway, an SBI podcast, but also Adam Spangler did a podcast with Greg Lawless at one point, which I think was Waiting for Geichens because of Joe Geichens.
Oh, yeah. That seems like the really overthought title for a show that those 2 guys would do.
I remember doing a episode of that with like, give a gift to American soccer for Christmas. Dwayne Rollins and Kevin Laramie. There you go. Shout out to that.
Is Dwayne still doing it?
No, I think Dwayne, I'm not, because I got off of X and Twitter. I don't see the same people I used to. I don't see him on Blue Sky, so I don't know what Dwayne Rollins is up to. But he was one of the first like connections I made in soccer blogging. Was Dwayne Rollins way back in the late aughts? Yeah. Oh God, that's so long ago.
Listen, guys, it was a crazy time. It was a wild, wild west time where anyone could be a content creator and like was in a time where there was no content.
I was not. It wasn't like you were reading as anything you could get your hands on, and everybody was trying to make something. I remember these were not American soccer blogs, but you had Avoiding the Drop, which was you had Unprofessional Foul. Those were soccer blogs. They were like in the Deadspin vein. They were Deadspin commenters who love soccer started their own things that were sort of like the Deadspin of soccer.
Yeah.
And I remember being like involved, and I'm sure that there are like a billion soccer blogs that I've read.
What was the comedy one we used to do with Little T-Rex arms?
Oh, so you had Winning Ugly,
Winning
right?
Ugly, yeah.
Yeah,
that was my, I was on that a lot.
There might be room to bring that back somehow.
It was a good show, but I'll tell you right now, I said some things that probably wouldn't fly these days. Like I was pretty blue.
Some of it, yeah, we worked blue. I think as long as you were kind of recognize you're working blue and don't like punch down, then yeah, I think it would probably. I don't know. I think it would be okay. I think it would be okay. Off the
final rundown.
By the way, I will tell you something real quick because I am that nerd. Remember we get Google Reader for RSS feeds back in the day?
Yeah.
And then they shut down Google Reader. So I moved to something called Feedly, and I put all of my RSS feeds from Google Reader directly into Feedly. And I still, even though none of them have been active for years, I still have the names. So Off the Post, Kikette. Do you remember Kikette?
Yeah, it's the female one.
Yeah, it was like focused more on like almost wag culture and stuff like that.
Two girls, I think, that did it.
I can't remember who ran it, but I met her because she used to work for Chris Toy, and I did a bunch of stuff for Chris Toy. Anyway, that's a whole thing. Let's see.
Did you happen to have This Week in U.S. Soccer tweets on your RSS feed?
No, I don't think so.
That's probably one of the things I'm most proudest of.
Remember WV Hooligan Drew in Texas did that.
You'll never understand how much pressure and anxiety I had making that every week. Like people messaging on the side, like I would get all these DMs like, you didn't see this one? I can't see the whole internet.
Can't see the whole internet. Hey, look, I got the original winger here. I got the offside rules here. I got the Yanks are coming. Don't forget about the Yanks are coming. That used to be the run of play, which is Brian Phillips. That was a much more of a literary read. And Brian Phillips is a legit, incredible writer nowadays.
I could have put that on here. I didn't think about that one.
I think he's still writing for the Ringer. A lot of these guys ended up like some of those people.
He went to Bill
Grantland.
Simmons' site, didn't he? Yeah, Grantland. Yeah.
What'd you say?
He went to Bill Simmons' site, Grantland, right?
Yeah. He went on to do much beautiful, much bigger things than we were doing at the time. I remember writing for him about soccer moms, but not about soccer.
Any other prominent blog we missed that's on your feed?
I don't think so. Some of these are English focused blogs, so I wouldn't count them. Hexagonal blog. There was Setting the Table. Shout out. I think that was still. I think it was out of Kansas City, if I remember. Setting the Table out of Kansas City, right? There's Unprofessional Foul. I see that. U.S. Soccer Daily.
Oh yeah,
that was like my first credential. I got a credential because of U.S. Soccer Daily, and got out to a DC United game, and that started the thing for me. So shout out! Wow, the other 87? What's that about? Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So your final 9 in order are number 1, Big Soccer. Number 2, Offside Rules. Number 3, Stephen Goff. Number 4, Du Nord. Number 5, Soccer by Ives. Number 6, U.S. Soccer Players Association. Number 8, The Original Winger. Number 9, Shin Guardian.
So I would move, if I did it again, if I knew it was coming, I would move the U.S. Soccer Players all the way down to 9.
Yeah.
I would bump Shin Guardian up. I would probably still have Shin Guardian 8. And what was 7?
7 was Numeg Radio. You'd probably have Original Ringer above Numeg Radio. Maybe not.
No, I would probably still have it that way. I loved Meridi, but
would you still have Du Nord above Ives?
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Yeah. I mean, again,
would you have Offside Rules as high as you have it at 2?
I mean, that's sentimental as much as anything.
That was my 1-2. If I'm being honest, those were my 1-2. That's the only thing I knew for sure those were the only ones I knew for sure where I'd put them. The rest would be really tough. And I think you could argue any position for the rest down below. But for me, there was the first place I clicked every day was to see if Sean had posted on Offside Rules.
Yeah. Man. And then he went on just to kind of finish that story. Some people know this. He parlayed that. I think he was working at MTV at the time. He pulled that in, probably in that MLS Insider, which was like a trend-setting thing across sports. Yeah, he was doing
I
something
mean,
nobody else was doing.
It changed. There were other leagues and other sports that created a position similar to that because he was so good at it.
Yeah. Actually, if you want to, you might even be able to say that all these sports leagues that brought like editorial teams in house and started making their own content for better or worse, kind of all flows from Sean.
Major League Soccer.
Yeah, Major League Soccer.com, which has gone through some changes and all that. But you didn't mention what was the one that had like a team page for all like a bunch of different teams?
SB Nation?
No. This is before SB Nation. I think it was The Offside. Was it just called The Offside? Do you remember that one?
Not sure. Oh, you know what I should have put is like Tarjeta Rioja or something like that. Remember the old for those who don't know, you couldn't watch streams.
Roja Directa.
Excuse me, Roja Directa. And you couldn't watch overseas football. So, but you could find these illegal streams. Half of them were viruses. Half of them worked. And it would just be if one didn't work, you go to the other one and you might get lucky and be able to stream a game from the Netherlands or something like that. See DeMarcus Beasley play for 60 minutes.
Yeah. It's actually interesting you brought this up because, obviously my career has gone in a million different directions that I never thought I would come. And by the way, my career exists because Jared Dubois agreed to do a podcast with me.
You were doing a podcast already.
No, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't. I no disrespect to Ginge or anything that came before you. And actually, Mark Fishkin was like my first co-host because he agreed to do stuff with me when I was doing my blog.
Hey, listen, Ginge had a bigger audience than you did when he was the draw. He had a bigger audience. When you guys
he was part of Winning Ugly. He was doing his own thing. Eventually, did a bunch of Houston Dynamo stuff. No, but when Ginger decided he needed to take a break, Jared stepped in. And it just came up. Like I was on Scuffed and Bells said, he's been doing a podcast with Jared Dubois since 2011. I was like, God damn, 2011? 2011?
Yeah.
Treat yourself, 2011. That's how long ago that was. Yeah.
JTT is sad. He says, of all the shows to miss while on a flight, I see I've missed a good one.
Yeah.
We didn't mention the goalkeeper. Well, that's because I said soccer website. Where's that guy? Is that JTT? Who?
JTT.
And plus what was that? That's extra. Sorry. That's usually in there.
I don't know what's that. I think this is a different version.
And honestly, by having Stephen Goff in there, it already failed the same niche as how JTT's blog was always, or not blog, excuse me, how his work was often presented, far more journalistic and under a newspaper flag. So, and I would think JTT, I'm sure, was reiterate.
There were a couple of
very much took the mantle with Steve Goff doing that same style of
sure.
Like we need those guys still with Goff no longer in the universe.
I hope he takes this as a compliment. JTT is the furniture now too. Like you're not going anywhere. Like you've been there and look at that over there. That thing is amazing. So yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, man. To think that. So my blog. I mean, we'll finish this out. I started my blog 6 months after my kid was born. My first kid was born in 2008. 2008.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. So it's, what is that? 17 years and change.
By the way, for Robert in the chat, says no corner of the galaxy. I didn't put podcasts on here. I put like websites, like blogs, and I know that Josh has posted stuff on the site, but I kind of kept the podcast out of it, and also not picking one that I was on. Yeah.
You put one that I was involved with as an.
I could have put Sounder at Heart. I avoided all. I avoided all. I should have said at the beginning. I avoided all team sites. Yeah. Like I didn't put Seeing Red. I didn't put Sounder at Heart. I didn't put Quarter of the Galaxy. Like I kept the team ones out of it because I felt it was a little bit too niche.
Yeah, man.
Compartmentalized.
Now I'm gonna go to bed tonight, trying to remember.
So now I want JTT to somewhere post what his 9 would have been, because he's gonna have to listen to this after the fact and rank how he would have. So JTT, I want you to listen back when you get a chance. If you have time, I know you're a busy man, but if you get time, blind rank as you go. I'm interested to see what your rankings would be, because he was around and lived it with us.
Mm-hmm. There you go. All right, we got to wrap this thing up. Thank you very much for partaking of this program this evening. You can get extra stuff on the Patreon, on patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. The community over there really going through some feelings in addition to talking about soccer and wrestling and other stuff, and you can probably figure out why we are going through feelings if you've been paying attention to the news. What else, Jared? What else should we tell you?
This episode brought to you by the Wayback Machine.
The Wayback Machine.
If you want to see some of these places, you might be able to see them still if you go to the Wayback Machine.
I maybe have on occasion gone and tried to find some old pages that might still be.
I've gone to my old blog, my own personal one, and it's on there. Like,
well, back in the day, baby, back in the day. Wow. All right. Well, thank you very much. I guess we'll close out with that. And hopefully next week we will be back here doing this all over again with you. And we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Those questions. Get to the chopper! WNBC. WNBC.
Danger zone!
Take us to DEFCON 3.
Calm down, Greg. It's soccer.
What was that for? Here we go, saucing them up. Hit them, what?